The Russians are deliberately targeting civilians and civilian infrastructure with the goal of making Kherson and other Ukrainian cities unlivable. There's a new report by the Center for Information Resilience which lays out actually just how targeted, how systematic this kind of Russian onslaught has been. Kherson was the first major regional centre seized by Russia in the early days of Vladimir Putin's invasion in February 2022. And the Russians occupied the city in the south of the country up until November of last year, when they were finally kind of kicked out by advancing Ukrainian forces. And this long period of occupation, marked by disappearances, by arrests, by torture, ended. The problem is the Russians, they haven't retreated very far. They've gone about 800, 1,000 meters away on the left bank of the Dnieper, and they have carried on fighting. They've been blasting maternity wards, they've been hitting children's hospitals, rehabilitation centers. The Center for Information Resilience, using satellite imagery, open source material and so on, found that Russians have been deliberately targeting hospitals. They've hit 7 in a period of just 6 months up until May of this year. When I visited Kherson in spring, I remember going past the children's hospital where all the lower story windows had been blown out, had been boarded up. There was damage to the roof. And you can see the sort of telltale traces of shrapnel damage across the masonry. What's clear is the sort of strategy is to make Kherson uninhabitable, unlivable, where it's a bit of a lottery whether you live or die. It's extremely cynical, and I think it's quite effective as well. People in Ukraine, in Kherson, they are tired. They're exhausted. The war is everywhere. It touches everything. And certainly in Kherson, which is really one of the most dangerous places to be in Ukraine. How do you function? How do you shop? How do you take a break from your flat? How do you walk your dog? Each time you do this, you run the risk of being blown up.